Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're out on a Friday night and we felt like going live. So there was no deadline show earlier this week. Sadly, I won't be here for a deadline show tomorrow. We've got the Quins have got a football festival to go to for the oldest master Quinn. So we'll be otherwise engaged and won't be able to do the deadline show tomorrow. And I was like, it's everything's popping off now, especially if you've been on the timeline. You'll be seeing all these essence chambers and factories and whatever producing cards left and right, which has been great. And it just felt like, let's get live and let's go kicking on a Friday, see if we can get something done. And my co-pilot, Harry Trades, was there at my call. He's like, yeah, no problem. Let's jump on. Let's do it. Let's get stuck in and see what comes out of it. Harry, my man, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate us doing it, to be honest, because, I don't think we've done a Friday night stream, Jesus, for a long time. I don't think there's any outside of Laird's content, like we mentioned earlier, that ends pretty early for, this side of the world. Yeah, there's not really too much going on. So, yeah, why not go live? And, yeah, little replacement, I guess, for the deadline stream that we won't do tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. The live chat, you guys can play a big part in this show, of course, because there's no main topic or agenda or anything like that. But a few things we'll be batting around, because I think all eyes have been making their way towards, especially since we had Dan on the birthday show, and some of the wee kind of nuggets of intel that maybe sprinkled out of that. It's all eyes on the new season. It's all about getting your house in order or building that wallet up for pre-orders, as it be called. You've been pumping content out all over the place. Oh, we've got another guest joining us as well. Absolutely love it. He was meant to be on the birthday show. I dropped the ball a little bit. He could have crashed the party. My bad. But we've got him tonight. It's everyone's favourite whale, McBrideACE. McBride, how you doing, mate?
Good. I was just recharging my Guinness there. So.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, good man. Good. So you're still using the gadget then? The extra wee gadget for the supercharged Guinness? That's quality.
Of course, yes.
The commitment's incredible.
For the viewers, hang on a minute. I don't want to put it too close and spell it on my computer, but yeah, it's looking good. So there we
Black
go.
gold.
That's it. The game weeks are mad just now. Like you messaged me and you're like, we're doing pre-deadline streams and stuff, and I was like, my head's all over the place with different deadlines. So there we go.
Go bag. I'm not too sure what that means in this context, Michael Scott, but cheers for me. Fist bumps on arrival from lots of yous. And McBride, I was just kind of teeing everything up there because, basically the way everyone's saying the now, the game weeks are quite mad. I've not had too much actually cooking, but I've had a few teams I can roll out there. They've just not really went that hard. I mean, I'm looking on the timeline and I'm seeing all these card factories pumping cards out. I'm pulling my hair out, thinking, oh, damn it, man, if I only had degened into a wee bit more internationals or I'd done something a bit else. And I think when that thought comes to my mind, you definitely spring to my mind as well, because you got a few guys last minute, didn't spare any expense on one or two, and just to hear you saying that, like, how have you had anything out the factory yet? Have you been pumping out essence?
Well, firstly, I don't have any hair, so I'm not tearing my hair out. No, I've not. I bought Casteels, and he's in the team with Griezmann. He's been shocking, so he's been horrendous, crap, dropped, all that sort of stuff. So no real lessons, but I sold my limited a while back as well, so I probably would have had like numerous teams in limited and things. But it's nice to see people get good pulls. I mean, it kind of looks like all the essence that's coming out is just like a Euros pool. So obviously it's there's not really many bad players apart from Scotland. So
yeah, I've seen. Oh, who was it? Was it Zinub or Thork or something like that? But I seen somebody pulled a Greg Taylor super rare out of one, and I thought, oh, that's McGregor. And a McGregor as well. Wow, I didn't see that one.
As well. It's like a Celtic stack. So, to be fair, like obviously, I've got my reservations about Classic and stuff, and I've been trying to buy more in-season cards. But when you see things like that happening, it is pretty good. The only problem, I guess, is going to be people are going to be used to getting in the tier 4 level, tier 5 level, and they got these good cards, and then it'll come like a normal all-star time, and it'll be all sorts of disasters again because it'll be back to the rubbish cards. But it's good to see that because the Euro's been really good. So it's nice to see people get some good pulls. But yeah, I've got Envy at the moment. I've got like 10 for rare and 10 for super rare and 6 for limited or something. So I've got work to do. attack the Copa America this weekend and see if I can get something. So.
What about you, Harry Boy? How have you been since we had kind of Dan on and we're talking pre-orders and everything else, internationals, prepping for 24-25? How are you over the last week or so? You've been pumping out videos like mad as well, so I know you've been busy.
I set aside a couple of hours to just sort of like see what I've got going on next year as far as like what do I want to play, what cards have I got in places and whatever. And it just made me be able to realize quite nicely that I had a few gaps that needed sorting. And yeah, I've brought in a few cards. To be fair, I'm going to go Challenger under 23 Super Rare next year. Like that's going to be my bread and butter, basically. So like 2 Super Rare teams, and like 3 Challenger, like classic teams at Super Rare, and then obviously playing Rare as well. But yeah, been trading a lot, trying to get rid of some of my contender lads, some of my champion lads that are Super Rare that I'm not going to get much use out of. Still sort of a work in progress there, but doing pretty well. But as far as Essence go, yeah, I'm in the same boat as McBride. I got 10 Rare. And I've got 3 limited from I had a little Rivals flutter and yeah, managed to pull 3 there. But like yeah, it's tough in Rare right now. Flopped in my goalkeeper didn't even play in Copa. Fucking Carlos Coronel for Paraguay. So I bought him thinking that he's going to be the Paraguay number 1 because he was, and he's on the duty. So went and got myself another goalie to replicate that. But yeah, it's one of them where like. Yeah, it seems like everyone's getting ridiculous pulls from the tier 5 plus, tier 4 plus Essence. Like, it's actually stupid. I've not seen like an average pull yet. I know people aren't going to really necessarily show us their average pulls, but even like in the Discord I'm in, and I've honestly not seen just like a normal pull. Everything, one of the lads pulled a Diogo Costa yesterday from a tier 4, so 40 Essence at Rare. Like stupid things I'm seeing. And then like at Limited, I'm seeing just like everyone seems to be getting at least like a tier 2 from like a tier 5/4. Everything's like doubled. And like McBride said, yeah, it's the pulls right now in Europe. And I bet you it'll be my luck because this 10 Essence I have is from Euro. Let's say I get another 10 from Copper. I guarantee if I do my little 20 Essence, I'll get some Copper scrub and I'll be fuming because obviously it's going to be 50-50 technically because of the split. But yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the last couple of weeks.
I think all the pools are pretty good, to be honest. Like
they are, yeah.
The Copper ones, like the problem is there's not like as many players actually minted. So you look at like the tier 2 pool stuff. It's really good. So I actually bought a limited team like just before the deadline. I was like, I'm just gonna like spend £100 and just get involved just out of enjoyment, which was kind of nice actually, just to go and do something like. Usually I really put off like doing stuff like that and think, oh, it's going to be too expensive and things, but it was just for a bit of fun for the next couple of days. But yeah, the prize pools are really, really good, and I think like what will be really good for people is obviously if they're looking to win Mbappe and things, that's going to be quite hard if you're playing contender. But if you're getting your Essence and you pull a card, you're going to get a contender player. It's going to suit your gallery better as well, because often what happens in All-Star was you'd win a card and it'd be pretty good, but you think, well, does that really fit in with who else I'm playing with and things? So it's going to be kind of interesting. But yeah, I think the strategy seems to be get the pools done before the Euros and the Copa finishes, to be honest. Like, and I don't know what you think about this as well, Harry, but like obviously it's really good just now because you've got these cards, but they're all going to be classic soon as well. So my initial thought was like, why not just wait until they just drop these like Euro card launches or whatever, because you get a good chance of winning one of the first mints of, the in-season EPL or whatever, then, the way the ratio is going, like that might still be worth double what some of the cards are worth just now because they've been going mental at the start of the season. So it's I suppose a good thing to think that we're looking up that way rather than the other way about.
100%.
So
I think for Sorare, like for them themselves, surely they'll want us to spunk it early, right? Because then that means they can sell more, in season, or not more, but you know what I mean. Like they don't want everyone waiting for new season cards, even though, like you said, it probably is the best thing to do as far as like how much is that card going to be worth. But I don't know because these Euro comps, like you said, that there's such good quality in there. Yeah, okay, it's going to be classic forever, whatever. But like, what would you prefer? Like a classic, I don't know, Valverde or whoever, like a really good card, or would you rather an in-season card that's like half as good as him? If that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Because the quality of card is going to just go down once like the Euros finish in that essence thing when we have the new cards. But ultimately, how much does a tier 5 in-season card go for basically compared to like a classic Euros tier 5 card now? Like I think Charlie said there, like Bombito and Musa are tier 5s. I know that's copper, but you know what I mean? Like what's going to be the difference? It's really, we don't know, obviously, because the cards don't exist. But I think that's what you've got to kind of weigh up in your head. Just whatever, tier 5, 4, 2, you know what I mean?
I don't think there are any tier 5s at the moment. I think that's the problem.
I mean, there's not, but they're labeling them as that, aren't they? Like, they're not actually tier 5s, though, realistically.
I've seen people talking about like expectations and stuff like coming off the back of this, and I think it's kind of what you guys are touching on as well. I do think we're all the realization that, you know, like tier 5s will become tier 5s when it's like you're getting it from the challenger region or the contender region or whatever. And even the chat, everyone that's kind of here I think knows that as well. Cravadora came out as a tier 4 for somebody in the chat tonight, which is insane, you know. So
it's not tier 4, is it? It's a minimum of a tier.
Like he has a tier 1, but in reality, like in the actual game of Sorare, he's not a tier 4. Cravadora.
No, but it's not tier 4, so that there's a odds probability in the worst you can get is a tier 4.
Yeah, McBride's right. Yeah, Cravadora isn't a tier 4. He's a tier 1.
You get a star in tier 5, but it's like the old box percentages of 1% or whatever. So people are like, "Oh, that's a brilliant tier 4," but it's not actually just a tier 4. The thing is, when the card comes out, it doesn't tell you what tier the card's in. But if you rip it, then you could just have pulled a star. So that makes sense.
That makes
I'm with you. I never thought about that. That's a great point. I also sent a wee nudge and a link out to 2 other people. One of them has answered the call. He's here tonight on a Friday night. Would you believe it? It's Jackp. Jack, good to see you. Welcome to the channel.
Good evening, lads. How you doing? Hope you're all right.
I almost said hail there because McBride's here.
Hail, Jack.
On the Pepsi.
Love it. So, Jackie boy, how you been?
Yeah, I've been doing good. Bit quiet this last week, but I'm just trying to keep in tap with the deadlines. To be honest, I think more over the shop at the moment. I think just checking. I'm making sure it's not tonight. I saw the deadlines during. I panicked a little bit then. But no, I'm doing good.
I can't believe it was tomorrow when I realised as well. I was like, Jesus, man, like that's a funny one to watch out for this week. So yeah, hopefully everyone catches it. But we're just chatting about like getting set for a new season and stuff like that, Jack, in terms of like obviously great card payouts out the card factory, as well as like a lot of cards are on kind of floor prices. Like even like yesterday, off the back of maybe a bit of the FOMO and all the essence that's coming out there now. I seen we've lost McBride. McBride did say I had to leave at some point, but I think this is just a technical glitch. But upon seeing the Spain Olympic squad being confirmed, I degened myself into a Turientes just to make sure. I don't know, just to get him and just to go for it, sort of thing. But yeah, internationals approaching the new season, card prices, all that kind of stuff. Jack, how you been shaping up over the last week or so?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I said a few times on my streams. To be fair, when this season ended, talking end of May, start of June, that's when I started building for next season. So I feel like a lot of people are leaving it now, July, August time, and the FOMO will kick in. I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, August, and we should see prices hopefully increase. Again, not quite sure the classic season. I mean, it's a brand new game. People, I'm sure, message you a lot of time as well. What the best, ways into the new season in terms of European, how do you buy classic cards, new season cards? But I don't think no one really knows yet. I think it's a new game for us all. So no matter if you've been on the platform 2 years, 4 years, couple of months, it's a brand new game for us all, to be honest. But yeah, my plan was get next season ready at the start of last season, if that makes sense. So getting cards May, June time when they usually aren't a floor price, and my full focus is classic next season. That's what I'll be playing, especially in the European sort of regions.
Nice. I think that's that Harry's kind of made mention to something similar already in a roundabout way, but like, thinking ahead to just what the strategy is first and foremost, because that's where you need to build from, of course. It's not just like teams and leagues and stuff like that, but it's like, what are you actually doing with the cards? Are you trying to win cards to sell them? You're trying to win cash, or, this kind of thing as well. And like, I think that like you say, Jack, it's like definitely like a new chapter. It's like probably even a new book altogether. Like you say, it's like this book that we've all been reading from for the last 4 years is probably shelved, and now we've got a new one to start playing from. And like Champion Euro, Classic, Challenger Euro, or whatever we're calling it, split across 2 regions, I suppose. But like everyone expects it to be the hardest to like compete in consistently, be successful in consistently, and like that's because like no one really has a defined like what does being really successful look like, and what does that actually like what is required to do that across 3 lineups or more for a region, rather than just the kind of one that we've had before in some different ways. So yeah, I'm kind of on that kind of train of thought with all my cards as well. Like, but with Champ Euro, like again, I think if you are interested in like how to make money from Sorare, like playing the game and all that kind of thing, having in-season European cards in any scarcity is going to be fun, isn't it? I think we all can agree on that probably.
Yeah.
The MLS is the cheat code now, though, isn't it, for those Challenger cards? Because you don't need to buy Challenger in-season cards, Bundesliga, sorry, like Belgium League and Danish League, technically, if they have Mint again and Eredivisie and whatever. So, like, yeah, that's the way to get around it for now, isn't it? Is buying MLS in-season cards. Obviously, they end their season in October, whenever, the MLS finishes. But you've got that, like, August till whenever. Yeah, to
I'll
kind
find
of
whenever.
What do you say? Sorry,
I'll go find whenever. I'll find it when it is.
That's what
yeah.
we're
So
doing
it's
all
like,
week, Harry.
yeah, I saw McBride's been copying my Seattle stuff. I've seen it all. Don't worry, I've seen it. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking. But yeah, now Seattle look like they've got a nice little run, haven't they? To be fair, and the prices you got those supers for, like, stupid, aren't they? Like Rusnak and that, ridiculous.
I couldn't believe it.
I
Like,
know.
well, the main reason was like the Euros finishing, so like obviously a lot of the guys I've had to play chip, which means they're out. So it's like one team left. But I mean, like Quinny was saying about the strategy and things, and I found this really interesting. So one thing I did was when the K-League stuff was coming on, like I bought like Ulsan stacks, so rare, not the whole collection in limited. And interestingly, in limited, the whole collection was like say like 100 quid. So I was thinking, right, I'm pissing my money against the wind here. I'm in the Asia contender, whatever. But so far up to just now, that has won me 300 quid in terms of cash.
Jesus.
So I think the problem is that you look at Classic and you think, right, this guy's like 5 quid, and the in-season card has just come out and it's like 10 quid or it's 15 quid, and you think that's too expensive. But I think the mistake people make is they don't look at what you can actually win in terms of the cash. So it's hard because I know I've got like uber amounts of cards, but you can't just shift them on. You can't just wake up and say, right, I'm going to sell that card, I'm going to sell that card and spend the money. You've got to have the liquidity for it. But if you can get some in-season stacks, I think you should be thinking about what can I win with this relative to what I'm paying, not what the classic cards are worth, because that's what a lot of people do. And actually, I think the in-season cards will be really, really profitable. Maybe not as profitable as contender because there's not as much demand. But if you get like, say it's an Aston Villa stack and they win 3-0 in the first 2 game weeks or whatever, like you probably return your money straight away. Like I used Aston Villa as an example, but somebody with good fixtures. Liverpool get good fixtures. They've got some good home games, whatever. So it's going to be interesting. See what happens. So.
Aye, I think Aston Villa have been a really successful stack for like 2 seasons in a row now. So like, love to see that. Like, yeah, I think they'll have a good one again as well. But it's just funny you say that because it's been kind of on my to-do list, Aston Villa stacks for a video. So it's just great to hear.
Evening.
Jack, I think I spoke over you. Sorry, you were going to say something, maybe? No.
No.
I was
sorry.
just saying good evening.
Aye, no, I wasn't sure. My bad. But yeah, no, I think like I'm totally with you on that one, McBride. I do think like I remember you saying that to me before. I think somebody else has said something similar, and it is one of those ones because like especially like for the exposure you've had already, and anyone that's doing the same thing with MLS cards, I suppose, is that the whole platform hasn't done that strategy. Hasn't been on their like agenda or whatever. They're locking into Europe harder, or they're dealing with different scarcities juggling around or whatever. A few technical streams tonight, guys. Really sorry. But musical chairs on the go. yeah, it's always been like the thing with Sorare is it's way easier to judge card prices and like viability once you've got some sort of track record to look at. And like going into that situation again, it's been probably quite a theme of yours. You know, I'm getting flashbacks now to when Limiteds came out and you were buying them 10 to a dozen. But you know, like it did take a bit of speculation, a bit of bravery, you might even say, to go down that road in the first place. You need to have the liquidity, like you say, because it's almost impossible to just forecast that for a lot of people. You know, I know you can write the numbers down and check the fixtures and do whatever, but until you've actually got like, oh, well, McBride spent £100 on an Ulsan stack and within X amount of months did Y, you know, that gives some sort of kernel of data to kind of jump off of sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's something to be added into it as well. Like,
it's hard. It's hard, but if you think like you've got to think about where Sorare's going. So you've got the Bundesliga cash comp and you've got the La Liga cash comp as well. So like, okay, when new cards come out, I think the new cards are going to be really expensive, and the natural reaction is people are going to say, well, it's end of July, I'm just back from my holidays, I'm like, you know, there'll be the usual thing, I'll just buy the classic cards. And I get that if your budget suits that and you want to build up and things, then that's really good. But if you can afford it, then, you know, I think it could be the logical choice to just go for the new stack, because you've got the whole season to return, and I think it'll actually be pretty profitable. Obviously, Sorare want it to be profitable for them, but I think if you look at like the MLS cards, like Carles Gale's on like 65 out of 100 for rare, so they've minted 2/3 of the rares, and we're only in June, so they're actually getting through the mints quite quickly, which is one of the things they're going to want to do as well. They're going to want to max out the best players, mint all the cards, get the money in and things. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. But I think there's going to be lots of choice, and I think if you're really clever just now, you probably buy guys who aren't at the Euros but are maybe classic cards that will fit within the cash comps or whatever. So go a bit different. Just buy some guys who are good in the Bundesliga, or maybe some good La Liga players or whatever, because there's no focus on those players just now. But you know, in 3 or 4 weeks' time, the whole thing will just shift again, because the Euros guys nearly doubled, right? I mean, like they just flew. So I think as soon as you get these leagues back, then there'll be a lot more hype, a lot more interest, price rises. But I think that a lot of stuff just looks uber cheap at the moment. So that's quite interesting.
Do we reckon, I was going to say about Essen, sorry, Quinny. I was just going to say, like, is Classic going to look like, with the amount of hype that Essence is getting right now, do you think Classic is like just more attractive as a tournament just because prices of those cards are technically going to be a lot cheaper than those in-season cards? I know you can't win cash apart from D1, but you know, there's going to be Essence there's going to be mystery jerseys, there's going to be whatever in boxes. Like the fact that, you know, in season is only cash, you know, as the prize, as far as we are aware. Like, are we afraid that people like just don't take the hit on in-season cards? Like they don't take the sort of the risk with them, if that makes sense. I know people will do both or whatever, but I think like new players coming into the game, will they be like, oh, why will I buy a £300 De Bruyne when I can buy a £50 De Bruyne? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if the cash is enough, if that makes sense, to entice people to really splash, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it depends. It definitely depends on your budget, I suppose. But what I was going to say there, it kind of ties into what you said anyway, Harry. But like, I think I've done kind of what I think's been hard with the cash comps that we were just kind of saying there. I think I'm hopefully done an okay job of it, maybe for like classic mode, because I do think classic will be really hard to pull cards out of. But with boxes and with Essence and a few of those kind of safety nets on, like just being a good competitor, like eventually you'll get some sort of kind of kickback for it. Like, winning cards is going to be a big, even if you want to play in season, like winning cards is going to be because of the prices of the classic ones, even if you don't have any of them now. Like the ability to win a couple of tier 2s or a handful of tier 3s or whatever in the first 2 or 3 months from a classic set is huge. Yeah, for every player, I would say, with very few exceptions. And that's why I'm always been so adamant on this whole, like, it doesn't matter what you think you're playing, like you're playing both of them, classic and season, because like it really is like they do just dovetail so well, like the way they've done it, obviously. So it's I say it, ignore one at your peril, because you'll end, even if you're just playing all classic, you'll end up with a little batch of in-season cards that are probably better off just getting kept. Like they're 15, 20 quid guys, but they can get a goal at the weekend, or they've got 15 AA in their locker, and then before you know it, you're playing in season, you're like, oh man, I'll put my best classic card in there to push it over the top now, and then that has a knock-on effect to your classic king. You've took your best guy out, and so I think like classic and winning cards is definitely like a key strategy that I've definitely been focusing on throughout like this kind of period, and that's why I didn't maybe degen as hard into like Euros. So maybe I'm regretting a little bit now, but still.
No, it does sound very familiar. That does, to be fair. With me, as I mentioned before, my plan was to play classic this season and win a few cards in contender, win a goalkeeper in season, and before you know it, I'm there playing in season. Didn't plan to, and fell in the trap, or however you want to call it. But I'm sitting here playing in season.
Yeah, that's a good thing, but that is good because like if you can aim to even just make the card price back in terms of cash, like that's brilliant. Like the only problem I've got with classic, and it's going to change now, is that towards the end of the season, in classic you were winning cards and it was kind of hard to shift them, or they weren't at good prices. But that's going to flip, because then at the start of the season, these are going to be the cards that everybody really wants. So come back, Quinny, like about the Challenger thing. The only point I'd make about Challenger just now is that the big problem with MLS is that once you get Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, PSV and stuff back, that is going to be quite difficult. So the reason I went into the Challenger cards just now was just I was just getting a bit fed up with the classic. Like, I was putting up really, really, really good scores and just not winning anything significant. And I was thinking, like, I've got like maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks here where if these guys just turn over similar amounts to what I've spent, I'll be absolutely delighted with that, and I'll still have the cards for the rest of the season. And also, okay, maybe they won't score as well as some of the guys who'll come along, but have a think about like what edge can you get? Like if you've got an Ulsan stack and you start just now, then by the time Celtic come, they might not score as high, but you might have 3 or 4% on them. So there's like swings and roundabouts and stuff there. But I think that's the only main downside I would say to what's happened with the regions is I don't think the MLS really fits in that well with like the Euro like smashers, because you don't ever see an MLS game where it's like expected team goals 3 or 4, or like high clean sheet percentages, or Galatasaray playing Istanbulspor and it's a smasher game. So there's maybe some stuff that maybe Sorare want to actually just make an actual MLS league and have that a wee bit separated and things. But I think they've done a lot of things really, really, really well over the summer, apart from the Copa America, which I'm not talking about again.
I asked Dan about that thing, didn't I? The MLS.
I was going to say somebody mentioned that. Callum Carter Davidson's got a question here. I think this is a little bit of supply and demand as much as anything, but do you think many 23-24 season cards will continue dropping in terms of price? And I think with that, like, it is like the way I look at rares, any rare under 50 quid I'm interested in, and if it's under 20 quid, I am seriously don't care about the price of it after I buy it, for the most part. And it depends on where your club's at and what you're all about and all the rest of it. But like I mentioned earlier on, like a DGen did have 2 Rientes that cost 13 quid. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing for somebody like that. If you know what I mean, even if I wake up tomorrow and he's 8 quid or something, it's kind of like with some cards, they will only go down so low because they will have utility and use in the game, and all prices go up and down. But what really will, as time goes on, I think 23-24 might age better than a lot of the other seasons because it's 3D. And, as time goes on and every card is 3D, there'll probably be some functionality and some other bits and bobs where maybe the 2D cards are a bit of a pain in the backside, or new users that only start today, for example, aren't into it, and just want all this. So there's a few things kind of going on with that. But ultimately, like, if Sorare like doubled in size tomorrow, like, it's hard to imagine a £13 card becoming an £8 card anytime soon, but again, it's a bit of an unknown. It's just a thing to say, isn't it? But yeah, hard one. What do you guys think?
I think it can happen, but it all depends, like, how in demand that card is. Like you said, right? Like, if the card's got a good transfer on the way, then chances are it's probably going to go up. Like, a lot of the prices of cards right now are very dependent on, are they going to be in good situations in August? And that probably determines whether your card's going to go down or not. Like, in the most simple term. There's obviously nuances to that, but, like, yeah, as a blanket statement, I think that rings quite true a lot of the time.
Yeah. And demand, like, I've talked about this a lot, but over the summer, there's never historically been a lot of demand. I mean, like, even when we were at like the peak, remember, Quinny, we were kind of looking at what pieces we want to add in over the summer when there was no Euro games on. So I think that actually just now we're not seeing the true picture, and it's quite close to it, but you can see with the Euros cards already starting to dip that the reason those cards were so popular was because the Euros, because of the actual, hype, the good prizes that Sorare were giving out. I mean, like, the competitions have been really good, not just the essence, the boxes. There's been lots of stars. There's been, cash given out and things. So obviously that's helped a lot as well. So if we get to that sort of point where you've got the Euro leagues coming back, if Sorare can mint some of the cards into those weeks, that's going to be much better, because that's the peak demand for the season. You've got the full season ahead of yourself, and also you think you're absolutely brilliant at the game until you're like 2 game weeks in, don't you? It's like, yes, the EPL's back. Yeah, I'm going to smash FPL. I'm a genius. I've got my spreadsheets out here, and then two game weeks in, you're right onto the scrap heap. But like, that's it, isn't it? Like, every year I say I'm not doing fan team. I'm not spending 20 quid, spend my whole season picking these shite guys that I always make a complete mess of. But like, I do it, and then I'm like 2 months in, I think, bloody hell, what am I doing? So, but that will happen. People will buy into the hype. So I think it's quite exciting. Like, there's a couple of things to be ironed out, but I think with the marketing, the Euros, you see the reaction to the cards at the Euros, like how they've all risen and things. It shows you that there can be rises again. So I think it's going to be quite good.
I think the massive thing is that pre-order thing, though, that Dan was on about, and we kind of know this is going to happen. Like, what McBride's saying there, it's all about before ball is kicked, basically. Like, all the hype is pre any game starting in the Premier League. You think this guy's going to be a smasher because he was last year. This guy's just come in, he's going to be the next fucking David Beckham. Like, you think all those things, but as soon as the first whistle goes, like you said, you end up, realization hits, and you're not in the position that you thought you would be. But like, that's where Sorare needs to capitalize on, like, card sales and launching the cards 3-4 weeks before, like, the Prem starts.
Yeah.
I think that is where they're going to get incredible, extortionate amounts of money for these cards, because you're buying into the unknown, and that's how, like, prices can go, like, exponential, because you don't know how good they're going to be. All you can go off is what happened last year, and we know very well the football changes very quickly. And, because he scored 100 a couple of times last year, does not mean he's going to do it again. And vice versa. Somebody that can only score 60s last year could easily pop into hundreds if he's on pens this year. And, all those things, I think Sorare need to and will capitalize on, through these pre-order situations that they're going to do.
Yeah. The other thing as well is you get lots of cards out at that point, then it helps across the season as well, because like, there's still loads of cards coming out just now, like, auctions for cards where there's no games. So, you kind of look at it sometimes, you think, why are you minting like a super rare or whatever just now? But you see the prices coming down. So see if you could get a lot of those cards out and get them all minted during the season. Like, I think it would work much better. But there's got to be changes, but for the better, I think, to be honest. So
if they're able to mint as much as they can before the season starts, right? Imagine the pressure that alleviates for the secondary market, by the way. Imagine if you then, McBride, go and win a fucking De Bruyne in-season card after they've minted every single one. I know they can still reward them, so those can be put on the market, but, let's argue they've minted them all. They've minted all, what they call it, is it 50 cards, 55 De Bruynes, whatever. The majority, or not the majority, sorry, just above halfway, because the rest get, rewarded. Imagine like what they're going to go for because there's going to be hardly any competition as far as like the in-season De Bruyne goes on the secondary, outside of you know, competing with people that have won him as well. But that might not be that much at the start. Those dynamics could make the secondary market really fun, and like maybe give it a little bit of life, because it hasn't had much life over the last couple of years, unfortunately. And yeah, I think that could be the catalyst. If Sorare can mint as much as possible before the season, I think that can only benefit us and, benefit them, because they're going to get a bigger slice of the 5% in that sense, right? Like if De Bruyne goes for £1,000 rather than 500, they're doubling their 5%, right? As far as the pound value. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really hope they smash it.
Callum came back in there saying that he was looking at Saka and Rice, and I think it's dead easy to say, just wait till England are done with the Euros and then check the price of them a day or two later. I don't think there's any rush if you're not wanting to play them.
Was that after Slovakia again?
They can't get knocked out from Slovakia. I don't think that's on the cards, is it? Imagine, but nah.
Have
I don't
you watched
think
England? Have you watched England play so far?
I know, mate, but it's like, man, quality just kind of rises to the top in these games. I think
They're managed by a guy who's famous for wearing a waistcoat.
He doesn't pass the ball or shoot, but so when it actually gets on the pitch, man, like coaches can only do so much. Like you hear even Pep saying it. It is all about who you've got on the pitch. So I think, as much as I'd love it, it'd be a good laugh and all that. I think ultimately just the team is too good not to outscore Slovakia across 120 minutes.
Yeah.
So, who do you think your top 3 teams have been at the Euros so far? And obviously, this is a loaded question because I don't think that team would be in it. But who would be your top 3 teams at the Euros so far?
That have impressed me so far.
Yeah, or you just think, if you take the draw aside, because it's quite hard because all the good teams are in the same half, but who've been like the teams who've impressed you like so much?
Outside of Spain and Portugal, I find that hard to answer. Like, I'm not sure that I could get 3 that have impressed me. Maybe Holland, kind of, but they've just because Reinders has looked good at this level, I thought, and who else looked good in one of the games? I can't remember.
Switzerland for me looked good. Switzerland.
Germany.
Germany got to be in there, haven't they?
Yeah.
Have they impressed? Have they impressed? I don't know. Like, they've been German, like they've been Germany. Like,
we were Scottish when we played them, so I wasn't impressed. But, bit of a sore rear end. I mean, it's been a really good Euros, but like I know you're saying that okay, England should beat Slovakia, but that's not the way it's worked so far, right? I mean, it's been ultra competitive, and even like that game where Georgia beat Portugal, and Georgia had everything to play for, and Portugal rotated. But on paper, when you look at that team that Portugal put out, you think they're all top class players and blah blah blah. But like it just doesn't work like that. So it's going to be quite interesting. I think in the knockout stages, because everyone will assume that this bracket will go to that person and that person will go through, but that's not the way the groups worked. So it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to it because it's been 2 days off, so I'm in withdrawal symptoms now.
I mean, least disappointing, it's got to be Belgium and France, right? Realistically.
Yeah, Belgium for sure. Belgium.
Belgium have been a wet fart, haven't they?
Which is kind of expect, they got previous. Like, it's not as if, they're going into this with like insane pedigree. But yeah, I think France overall, though, have been the most disappointing from how they've set up standpoint, what they haven't done, i.e. score loads, not asking for loads of goals, but Jesus, like, give us something to work with. Yeah, give us a goal to work with. Like, would be kind, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, England have got the really, really good half, haven't they? So it's how you navigate that. And actually, knockout football, if you're quite tight, I mean, there's probably an element where you get into the tournament where Southgate's thinking, well, all the problems we've got is defensively, and maybe he's been quite cautious. But it's just so frustrating watching, even as a Scottish person, right, watching Jude Bellingham, watching Foden, watching guys like Saka and not seeing like good attacking football, because I watch them all the time, and I actually enjoy watching Arsenal. I enjoy watching Man City. You see the Real Madrid stuff, so it's kind of interesting. But a couple of changes could change everything. Mino looked really good when he came in. I think he done pretty well. So it could be one of those where you sort of grow into a tournament. But I'm secretly hoping that the shyness continues, to be fair. Sorry, Jack. Sorry. But Scotland are rubbish, right? So we need some redemption here. We need something to cling on to. We need to just get some redemption in the tournament and be
I don't blame you.
There's a lot of shouts in the chat for Austria. On you go, Jack, sorry.
No, I was just saying, look, now Spain, potentially semi-finals of Spain, Germany, and then Portugal, France, potentially. Some really high-profile games in the semi-finals there. Looking forward to them already, to be fair. But same as you said, England, Austria, as you mentioned in the chat a moment ago, that side of the draw, it's all up for grabs, really. It's all up for grabs. You know, one of those teams are going to be in the final. But I hope it's England, but... I can't believe that the teams at either side of the draw. It's just incredible. You know, just looking now, you know, I think Germany got a tough game against Denmark. I think Denmark looked okay, but yeah, that France-Belgium game. We've all said a moment ago, you know, Belgium haven't looked good, but I fancy slip up there. I do. I really do.
Do you?
That's me. That's me. Odd shout in the round of 16. I haven't been impressed by Belgium, but
could be.
I think Austria have been really good. Big Ralph.
Yeah.
It's like
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, they've been pressing. Like, I think France beat them, but like when I watched that game, I thought, I don't know if they really deserved to get beaten. Then the good result against the Dutch as well. So I think they could be the kind of dark horses. Everyone's got a dark horse type team, but I thought they were really good.
Yeah, I think as a collect, like they've overperformed 100%. I know Georgia's in that conversation as well, but yeah, Austria is like an 11. Like there's no superstars there, is there? But fucking hell, they look like a legit team, like a club team that play together 24/7 type of thing. I said
in my predictions for the thing that Georgia have got Greece vibes about them. Who do you think will slip up, Harry? Sorry,
I think the Netherlands against Romania. Weird feeling. Because they've got a nice route as well, really. Like Jack said, obviously on the England side of things, until they probably lose to England. But like, I got a weird feeling. Like they looked horrible against Austria. I know Austria. We've just said they're a decent side, but Jesus, they're worrying Netherlands. Unless Xavi Simons is on it and Jackp, like Memphis has looked shadow of himself, really.
Not good at the back either.
Yeah, Van Dijk looks slow and shaky. Ake playing left back. I know he can do it, but Jesus, he's not proper left back. Do you know what I mean? And De Vrij as well. Doesn't even play club football. Like, and he's, I don't know. It's just, it's a bit of a makeshift back four in it, really. For like the quality of the players they kind of have sprinkled around.
That's because I bought Virgil and Sorare. As I've been talking ages about buying a Virgil van Dijk Super Rare, and he's been utter shit since I bought him, honestly. But what's next sale, I'll let him away with it.
But I think I think Georgia have got a wee bit of Greece vibes about them. But listening again and kind of recalling the games and whatnot and hearing from the chat, maybe it's Austria. Maybe Austria are the Greece of this tournament potentially. Because Greece weren't a great team, but they had players that played in some good clubs in that. Like individually, a few of the guys were okay. They were decent enough without any of them being anywhere near a star or whatever. So I do think that something's not going to go by the book in the round of 16 for sure. And it's kind of all up for grabs who it could be. Austria have probably got the most evenly matched tie, but if you look at it, because Austria and Turkey got the exact same record in the groups, both of them have got pretty good teams overall, and it's probably like the toughest. Belgium, France maybe comes into it too, but Belgium just might not turn up. But like you can imagine Turkey and Austria like battling that out for as long as it's required, But Kalinoglu, I've been reliably informed in my comment section, is booked. He's yellow card suspended out of it, so it's maybe a wee bit of a handicap on Turkey.
I think that game is Austria versus Turkey. I'm looking forward to the most. I think that game probably even tied. I think Switzerland Italy as well tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow evening.
That's those penalties,
2 games. Yeah, 100%.
0-0 all day long again, by the way. Get your life savings on that. There will not be a goal scored in that Switzerland game.
What's been your game of the tournament so far? What's been your favourite game?
Oh, Scotland, the Scotland one.
Germany 5, Scotland 1, yeah.
I don't know if I've had a favourite game, to be honest with you. I've not overly enjoyed many of them. I liked Romania. What was the game, Romania? The first match they won? Ukraine.
Ukraine.
That was a good game. I quite liked watching Romania do that. That was fun.
Yeah. I liked that Georgia-Turkey game. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was just it was like really good goals and like obviously it was a really good atmosphere in the stadium and everything, but I thought it was amazing. Like really good. Yeah, Turkey, Georgia, yeah.
I think I missed that one. I think that's one of the first games I missed. I was
I've
seen the highlights. Croatia, Albania. I don't agree with that, Jay. I don't think I watched Croatia, Albania. Oh, it was all right, I suppose, but it wasn't great. It's just been a lack of goals outside of Scotland matches, really, hasn't it?
We get a redemption when we come back in. Like it's like we're in the losers side now, and like we're going to come back in for the final at some point. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, Spain a bit like I'm just looking at the drawing. Obviously, the best fixture on paper is Spain, but Spain have played some brilliant stuff, and everybody probably written them off because Scotland beat them in qualifying, though at Jazz. But like, they look really good. Played some brilliant stuff. So
yeah, I like Spain. Been typically Spanish.
Young player of the tournament, we reckon. I know it's very hard to decide that now, but Yamal, it's got to be, haven't it?
Yamal,
Nico Williams,
Nico.
Because Mikatawazy's still young is the issue. So if he wins Golden Boot, do you know what I mean? It's tough to be like, well.
I was going to say Arda Güler's got a bit of a James Rodriguez moment already in his locker.
Yeah.
So if he has
another
another
one, another one against Austria. I called when I did my predictions earlier. I was like, Arda's the only way they're going to win this game. Like no hacker, and like he needs to pull some out of the bag, and he can obviously.
Musiala, that's a good shout as well, Tom.
Musiala, that's fair.
Yeah.
You forget he's only like 21 now. Like a veteran.
What about our least disappointing wonder kid?
Yeah.
Or most disappointing, sorry.
That's been good, but
I've done it.
Maybe not been. Yeah, he's not been effective. Actually, some chat about maybe they're going to play like Havertz and Füllkrug.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Drop Wirtz, which is kind of interesting. So, your lineup
from the benchmarks, it's probably better. Xavi Simons, I think I'd agree with that. Xavi Simons hasn't turned up at all, has he?
Yeah.
I mean, he made an impact last game. Came off the bench, got an assist straight away. But yeah, maybe not in the first two. Jude did well unbelievable in the first game, but last two he's been woeful.
Yeah.
As far as like how you expect,
he's not been Real Madrid level. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like you'd have to. He's in the conversation by all day long. He's got to be, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But
Foden probably follows too, doesn't he? But maybe Foden's too old for this chat.
Yeah, he's getting on a bit now. He's in his mid-20s. Three kids.
That's it. But yeah, so there's been a few underperformers, but especially the wonder kids. Like, I thought Xavi Simons, especially I'm kind of forgetting that bench appearance, of course, but the first two games, like he just didn't do anything. It was like a man down. I thought, So I think he would
okay, actually, Jay. That's a good shot. He surprised me, Pedri. To be fair,
Spain have got a lot of good going on. Yeah. How did Tevez Navas do for you, Harry?
Did well. He got like 30, like 28, 29 AA. Yeah, he did okay. He didn't smash, but like he
still going.
He was enough. I know there's rumors he might play this next game. It's not going to happen because Carvajal's on a yellow. So
yellows get white.
Him and
semis or something.
So like if he got another yellow, he would miss the quarters basically. So they said him and maybe one of the centre halves potentially. I think it's like Nacho and Laporte right now on like a little 50-50. That might be fitness related though with Laporte, but I don't think Spain do that though. They'll go Carvajal surely.
Aye, I think so. I think you go for Spain. Don't mess around in these tournaments, like
the only toss up is Olmo or Pedri. I think that's what people have been saying recently in the press. But apparently they trained with Pedri today in the sort of 10 role. So, but Olmo looked class against whoever they played in the last game, Albania, didn't he? Looked really good. So. offers us something a little bit different to Pedri. I
Spain
think
have got that, but haven't they? Like they've got that France.
So many
What
of
people think France have, but France don't really have it this tournament.
not in that
Just
position.
that, like they've got like two to a position of like equally good people, you know, like everywhere.
Big time.
It's just the favourites that get picked.
Really nice balance as well. Obviously, you know, Rodri holding midfield, and they got Fabio who's been really good this tournament as well. Pedri just sitting in front of him. It's obviously the wingers, Yamal and Nico. It's really good balance of the team. But been really impressed with them. Carvajal, I think Cucurella as well. Been really good this tournament. He's really surprised me. The first two games I've watched in Spain really surprised me. Really good. Obviously, a bit of surprise when he was picked over Graldo, but really impressed with him so far.
Yeah, he's got that, hasn't he? He's just fiery, isn't he? You wouldn't want to play against him as a winger. Like he'd just be ratting around you 24/7. You don't need that. With Grimaldo, you probably got a bit of an easier day. Maybe not defending wise as a winger because he's so good, going forward. But I can see why they've gotten Cucurella in some ways. But yeah, it's lots of competition in that Spain team, like Quinny says, two for a position, at minimum.
Yeah, I think Spain are looking good for it. For sure. A bunch of you watching us live, by the way, on a Friday night. Fist bump to everyone on arrival. Don't forget to smash the like button when you're here. As you probably know, you might have forgotten, but they Sorare own and control the internet. And if you want good luck on your essence, good luck on your boxes, and all the rest of it, if you don't hit that like button, they don't take kindly to that. They love the content here on the channel. They want to see you supporting it by smashing the like button. Get into the live chat, of course, like a lot of you guys are, and contributing to the conversation as well, which is good crack. But yeah, Euros has been all good fun, and it's been a nice kind of like distractions. One of the comments we had in earlier was like, real football comes back in 37 days or something like that. And like again, all the pre-order chat we've had tonight, and we're seeing fixture lists coming out, and we're seeing a few other bits and pieces. It's just transfers, things that are foreshadowing the season ahead. It's definitely full steam ahead, I think, for most Sorare managers, like getting whatever strategy that is that they're putting together ahead of next season. And I think like a part of it, I'll just kind of say on this, and then I'll mention something that I'd like to get your take on, and everyone in the chat as well. You'll need to help me, because I'm not too sure on some of the finer details of what has gone in the past, if you get me. And some of you guys might be able to give this a good bit of flavour. But like, it's not just like we're talking about like champ rare, and we're talking about like in season and classic and whatever. But depending on how long you've been playing the game for and how many cards you've got, like if you're playing cross scarcity, and that could be yellow to red, it could be yellow to blue, anything you're thinking about, then you can kind of have, I'm having anyway, quite different strategies, like segregated. Harry, again, you said something quite similar at the beginning of the show, into like the scarcity as well. I'm kind of thinking about a few things on a few different levels. And with that in mind, like I was saying to Harry before we came on, right, I wanted to mention this in the stream tonight and get a bit of help from you guys that are joining me live and those in the live chat, right? But Sorare next year, right? I'm not too sure how it's all going to shake out or whatever, right? But the prize money total should be ringing in, from what I gather, around the 15 million euro mark is their prize pool for next season. Is that, the first thing I thought straight away is that more than kind of what we've had kind of in the past? And then number two, the next thing I started thinking is, where's that going to get given out in the different divisions and regions and scarcities and whatever as well? So anyone in the chat that knows these websites to look at or whatever, I forget which one it is that's tapped into the API for this sort of thing, but like, how much do thresholds used to cost and all that kind of stuff and yada yada? Is that, like that number against how many game weeks we've got? How does that kind of shake out? If there's any VCR that can help with that, feel free. And obviously, Harry, I kind of set you up with that earlier on. That I kind of knew that we had a bit of info, but you and anyone else, anything kind of, what do you think when you hear that? Is that way more? Is that less? Is that right around the right spot? Is it Goldilocks zone? What did you, in terms of thinking about how much money will get paid out next year, when you hear that number, is that something, how does it get you going?
I think firstly, like I mentioned to you before we went on stream, it's like the fact that they even like using that as their marketing now is a good thing in that sense. Like before, it's always been like, yeah, you can win things here, but like can't really win money. But like you can, but we're not going to tell you type of thing. And then they started bringing, like that was the whole Haaland thing. Like when Haaland sold for 500k, like they didn't even, nobody from Sorare cared in that in a weird way. I know there's regulations. Anyway, we've moved on, and now they're at a stage where their main, grab for people is we're giving away X amount. And if that X amount sounds like a lot of money, which 15 million sounds like, not a bad chunk of change, I'd like to think it's more than any other year, because they're going to want, companies work off profits and margins and whatever. And they're not going to want to sell these cards for less than in-season cards have gone for previously. So whatever they're putting up, it needs to equate to higher prices in-season cards. The amount they give out, I know we can't spread that across here because we can't really do the maths. Or maybe someone can in the chat, like Quinny asked. But basically, if the prize pool's high, the in-season cards have to be high. You know what I'm saying? It has to work off that. If we don't know how much we don't know how much these cards are going to go for, but knowing the amount that we can win with those cards gives us obviously a better chance of, working out expected value and all that jazz, right? So yeah, 15 million sounds like a lot of money. I don't know how much that works out as per game week. What we're talking is 50 whatever weeks in a year, 2 game weeks a year. Oh, are we doing 2 game weeks next year technically? We won't be, will we? Because they're not having midweeks, I thought. Or are they?
I think midweek's a special weekly time.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just call it every weekend you can win money, if that makes sense. So it's 52 weeks a year times, divided by 15 mil,
Weekends
whatever that
only.
is. Yeah, it's 700k a weekend, that is, right? Or have I just completely butchered that?
Maybe.
No, that's right. That's right. No, it's not. That'd be 20. That'd be 20. Sorry.
Yeah, if you do-
300k. What is it?
just under 300k, I think it is.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a bit more than now. Right now, we've seen it as 100Ks and 150s, 120s, but that's dollars as well. Are we sure it's euros, Quinny? Get our conversions out.
I would say euros is the number to think about.
I think there were some weekends where the threshold was getting hammered so much that Sorare were actually paying out 300,000-400,000 on overall amounts. But the problem was that obviously you would see your top 3, your podium amounts, and somebody would win €1,000 or whatever. That's brilliant. But they were paying out significant amounts to other stuff. So yeah, when you were doing that, I was thinking, how many Guinness do I have left in the fridge for tonight? But no, seriously though, you from Sorare's point of view, I think we're in the transition just now, and people forget we're in the transition. So for us to work out how much cards are going to be worth when they come, they're going to have to tell us what the prize pools are like post All-Star, post caps, post beat the target or whatever. Will we still have some format of that? Are we going to have some sort of beat the target at the weekends? Are we going to have any caps at the weekends? And midweeks obviously is going to be specifically tailored to what's on, because I'm already looking at the SPFL calendar and thinking, yeah, we play through January and we've got midweeks and Christmas, and if you've got 10 teams from a region, then the region's got to open, so you will have midweeks where you can win cash as well, but it's a higher requirement than what we've had in previous seasons, because previously it was only 2 teams or something, and you would have these really crappy game weeks, but you would still have Challenger Open if there was two teams. So there's lots of changes, but I think what's going to be quite fun is it's going to be more dynamic and more tailored towards what's actually on at that point. So yeah, I had my eye already on Christmas, to be honest, because you've got Turkey for dinner, Turkey League, you've got Turkish League, you've got Scottish League, and you've got the EPL. So I'd really love it if they just done some sort of Christmas special where I can just whack out my Celtic cards and win Saka and things. But yeah, that stuff's quite exciting, I think. But be confirmed, obviously. So
Yeah, I thought it was quite a big number. It impressed me, certainly, anyway, when it came across my desk, let's say. And the first thing I thought is, wow, is that more? But you do need that kind of context, and let's see what the chat can maybe help us out with here. A lot of great chatting about the Euro stuff, by the way, as well. Thanks to everyone getting involved with that. But then the second one is where then does it go? Because again, there's chat in here for European Nights Special Weekly, and also McBride, what you're kind of on about as well. But that goes cross scarcity as well. It's limited, it's rare, it's super rare, it's unique, and some of these things I'm also hoping the blue cards, maybe get a bit more love, a bit more of that love than they've been getting thus far. You know, I think that's maybe one that I've been kind of hoping gets a nice kind of upturn coming to the new season. And when I hear a big number like that, I think, you know, there've got to be some big prices up with where the big expensive cards are. We're talking about selling cards and their interest as a company, number one. You know, so it definitely gets me excited on a few different levels if that is an increase, and it's this sort of significant increase that I would like to imagine it is from hearing it, you know.
If you look at the EPL cards, Quinny, right? So remember what happened when they had the EPL cash comp, and all the EPL cards, even at like the previously minted in season ones, all went up. So you've got Bundesliga, you've got La Liga. So that's going to be really important. Obviously, there's a lot of like focus on the top level cards, but like if regions get overlooked, then there's probably going to be a better ROI if you can look out with that. Because one of the problems I've got with EPL is that everybody's pretty good at the EPL. Like all the information's there. You've got all your guys who are good at FPL. You've got like templates and information, but can you really get 5 starters in Asia? That is the real quiz. So like I think that like it'll be quite fun to see where it goes and where the prizes go and where the prices go, but also I'm still hoping that you'll be able to play some of the other leagues and you'll be able to use your sort of knowledge advantage, because you know All-Star was always really fun because you could just say, well, I'm going to put this guy from that region, I'm going to play this defender. Oh, hang on, I've got a Carles Gill, I've got a Mukhtar, whatever, and all of a sudden you're putting guys together for an All-Star Pro or whatever, and it's like from all different regions. So that's not going to be like as much of the case because you've divided them into regions. But I think that, like from my point of view, you guys are all thinking, or people are all thinking about going champ and La Liga and stuff, and I'm thinking, I might just play contender. Like it's kind of interesting, but I think it's good that you've got different avenues or different ways to go. And under 23s, so I've got to mention under 23s, like 3 entries, really, really, really good. So, you know, if you can get a couple of guys from lower regions, but you can still win a Jude Bellingham, well, you know, the ROI there could be like completely bonkers. All right, you might not be able to put out a champ team, but you've got a guy worth £1,000, 1,500, that type of thing. So there's going to be some really interesting and different strategies that we've not been used to for previous seasons.
I sent Charlie a wee message asking him to adjust the maths, because I know we've been saying 52 weekends, but there's 38 games in most seasons, and I think that's probably the number to go with, because it's just like for the season sort of thing. So that was just something that occurred to me when I was kind of reading it. So makes it a wee bit more juicy again as well. So yeah, we'll see if we can get the maths revised there ever so slightly, but you know, certainly looks, I think, in the sort of direction we would be hoping for. But again, then there's that kind of slice of scarcity to come, not just with the regions and the competitions, but then it's got to go into 4 colours as well, and that'll be an interesting kind of read out how they do that overall. So yeah, look at all the star power here, Kennedy Carey, a lot of props and a lot of fist bumps. Jack, McBride and Harry Trades, all their YouTube channels are linked in the description of the video. If you haven't checked in their content out, be sure to, and smash the subscribe button. Of course, make sure you hit the like button while you're here joining us tonight. So we're just kind of talking the summer on Sorare, really, and kind of juggling between international football transfers, getting ready for in-season, and sort of everything else in between, as I very often say. Live chat's been getting on fire as well. Lots of great interactions coming from you guys. And yeah, I think like that's definitely something that's put a bit of a pep in my step over the last day or so, just thinking about, oh wow, like there could be a real serious commitment to a big payout across all these competitions. Because again, a lot of the numbers that we've seen and it's been even spoken about already with what we've had this season, like they've been fine, haven't they? But they've not been like, you know, a big, you know, there's not been a big flagship competition where it's like, oh, you could win something chunky, you know, in one game week. You know, it's just been like all these divisions kind of pay out okay. And then over here, there's just the hit the number and get the money machine, you know. And now with all that being revamped, like that's one thing, like when Dan asked me on the birthday stream last week, you know, how I was feeling now after being like most upset about the All-Star kind of development that we got with the reformatting. Like, again, it's something that's always in my mind when I think about the changes of it. But when I spoke to them at the time, I'm sure it was Dan and maybe somebody else, but one of the main sentiments that came to me from them was that they wanted all their payouts like concentrated like a lot better, into, you know, like if you look at the old SO5 arena, it's much more flat and kind of like spread around, whereas like now it's very much a kind of vertical kind of element, you know, and it's all just in the one funnel. That's kind of the imagery I've got around it, certainly, anyway. So yeah, like I guess we say it every year, and I guess it's true every year, and I don't think this year is any different, but it's definitely going to be like the biggest season like ever in terms of payouts and in terms of everything they've got going on. Not even the money stuff, but even getting Zidane for a second year in a row, and you know, everything else that they've been tapping into. Like it's, and again, like we mentioned earlier in the show, the pre-orders, like capitalizing upon the pre-season, you know, stuff that people do with football, watching transfers, want to set a fantasy team, want to pick up a new game or whatever. Like all bases are covered. You know, we're going early season, pushing a good payout on like people who want to play the pro element or whatever. And then even rivals, even if you only just have a couple of cards. Somebody in this chat mentioned they wanted to give a card away on the stream today so they can keep under 10 limiteds because they want to be playing a wee bit semi-pro again. You know, like all bases are kind of covered in a great way for them. And it's like never been like that. And so many, not even just the stuff I'm talking about, but there's tons of stuff that you'd be here all night talking about the developments. But it's I'm proper hyped, I'm proper excited. I've been really glad I've been picking up a lot of these guys, like Turientez's for 13 quid and Killison's for 40 quid. And, you know, like I said earlier, like rares under 50 quid really appeal to me now. And super rares like definitely appeal to me. A lot of the ETH prices that they're at, certainly, but getting the wallet together is, especially in ETH, like on platform, it's not quite been that easy this summer, just with my gallery, certainly. But yeah, I'm kind of hyped for it.
Celtic gallery. One thing that's really like surprised me is like how you end up getting into rivals. Like, so like over the Euros and things, and then you're in like the top 5, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, I'm going to play this like Copa America game, or like there's games in Norway. I'm like picking teams in Norway and things. So, but there's an actual link into the game now because you can win Essence. You might, like, I don't know what else is in the rivals boxes, but you know, even if you can win Essence, that's really good because then you can obviously craft some limited cards. But there's an obvious, the big difference from when there was a boom before was that there was the free-to-play leagues. Remember, Quinny, like 3-4 years ago, it was like 40,000 people in the sort of free-to-play league. I can't remember what it was called.
Is it called Academy?
The Academy, yeah.
Was it?
And like, it was like, I think if it was like 40,000.
It was like training, but it was training as well, wasn't it? No. No. It was all commons. No, you're right.
It was like it was bonkers, and you could pick like pretty much who you wanted, but the top 3 won like a rare, and there was like this tier 1 rare for like first or something, but it was free to play. But the tier 1 rare at that point was like worth about £1,000 or something. Like, it was mad. Anyway, there was points where there were just like thousands of people playing that, and then obviously the cards were quite expensive, and then limited came. But the good things now is like you've got rivals, and you can kind of build your way in. You can learn the game, and maybe you can get some essence and things, and then you can start getting cards, and you can work your way in. So hopefully now you've got all this big marketing and things that a lot more people are actually retained in the game. And it is more affordable now. Like, I know people think it's expensive, but if you look in the right areas, it's definitely more affordable. Like, you get like an MLS stack just now, a full MLS team, pretty decent teams for maybe 60 or 70 quid, and then that's you can just use them for the whole season. So it is pretty good. That's the numbers. 400k per week. Yeah. Is that your salary, Quinny, for doing the YouTube?
Fucking wish. Oh, I wish. I'd be trading like mad if I had that kind of money.
You're crazy.
But yeah, I think that's attractive. Thinking like the Premier League special comp thing was like 100k over a month, wasn't it? I don't know if I'm remembering that wrong or right or whatever, but so
I think you're right. Yeah, I wonder. What was I going to say? I think I know they're banging on about these special weeklies and stuff, but I genuinely think it'd be so much easier if they just still kept like a 270 or a 240, but you can only win boxes, or a 220. Like, I think cap modes still need to exist in this game somehow, because there's too many cards on this game that are just rubbish most games, but can be good in certain games, and they're not going to cut it in classic week in, week out. I'm It's just a fact. Like, it just ain't. You're going to need massive scores. McBride was saying earlier he was getting disheartened by, putting up massive scores in Classic and, not getting much in return. I think there's still a need for some sort of cap mode, whether that's just midweek or whether it's wherever. I think cap modes give value to cards that wouldn't have value otherwise, basically. And I think if it's that, or if it's like an all-star like Quinny, your gripe was the fact that like all-star was going, and fair, I get it, because obviously the whole global game and all that stuff. I think that and cap modes have a place in Sorare's ecosystem somewhere. They have to fit it in somehow. And I don't think it's worth doing this, like, neck tattoos 1 week, special weekly, and like, it's all well and fun, but like, I don't think people care, unfortunately. I know that sounds horrible, but like, people want to be able to plan for one, which I know they would tell us in advance, but like, I still don't think it moves the needle. Like, I think there needs to be some sort of cap mode. There has to be.
I was thinking that, Harry. One of the main problems just now is that people put their better teams into lower divisions because they think it's better. But actually, as you go up through the divisions, maybe there should be a cap in the divisions. So, for example, it's quite hard because, like, say somebody's new and they come in and they buy an Arsenal stack, they've got to start in Division 4 Limited or whatever because they don't qualify to go in higher up. You can't jump up. But also, the problem is that if somebody does have a really good stack, but they have quite a small gallery, they think, well, I don't want to play in the top division and hit like 450 and not win anything. I'd rather win 30 or 40 quid in Division 3. So I think actually divisions are kind of inherently flawed at the moment because you've got multi-entry. So if you had like one entry and you were only in your own division, that'd be fine. But because you've got 3 entries, and you can naturally just pick whatever one you want to put your best team in, then that it's not ideal. So maybe the solution would be that you do have like the bottom divisions are just capped. So like Division 4 is capped to 40 or whatever. So you'll never have a full Arsenal stack or a full Man City stack in Division 4. And then as you work up, the aim is to like buy better cards, or even as your last 15 average rises, you can still put it into Division 3. It just seems it's not quite right at the moment, where people are like targeting to not play against other players or whatever. It's just I don't know. It's not. I don't think they've nailed that. Obviously it's quite new, but I don't think it's right. Really don't.
I agree with you. I do.
I think caps could still go somewhere. I don't think that's really a problem that they care about satisfying maybe for the start of this season. I think, like I mentioned before, I think they just want everything in one place, where it's like, if you buy these cards, that's where you play them, like knock yourself out kind of thing. And then we've put every prize that we possibly can to make that as good looking as possible, so I think it is obviously it is a problem for keeping card utility up for, like we're talking about, some of these squad players and some just no names. Which is always going to be something there, but I think they're probably quite happy to just put that on ice and then roll it out, like once, if and when the kind of this season kickoff is a success, like they hope it is, obviously. So it's one of those things. I think, like, again, with all the stuff we've heard them say publicly, and when they were on the stream here with me, they're talking about like All-Star and stuff like that. Like, they do say like All-Star will probably be a special weekly most of the time, but it's just not like nailed on the menu as a guarantee sort of thing. And it'll obviously be different in a lot of ways. Maybe that'll be capped, in some fashion as well. Caps in the special weeklies all over the shop to level those playing fields. So yeah, that's why I kind of sit on that one. Do you actually
trust Sorare to get that right though, Quinny? Because I remember.
I know that's a meme, but they have been killing it.
I get that, but it's the problem with the game weeks is if you're going to be dynamic, it's quite hard to judge where people are going to put their teams. So obviously we had a thing recently where it was like, well, we'll have 2 all-star teams in midweek, and then we had a weekend game where it was like there was only 1 all-star, but actually there was more games on. So the problem with that is there's kind of more opportunities to fuck it up, which I'm not doubting it's like a really difficult job. It is difficult when you people like me moaning about the Copa America, but Like it's hard, like, because they think, well, we're shooting Euros, that's the biggest demand, and then I'm sitting going, like, I've got 3 Brazilian guys and 2 Argentinian guys now. I can't enter for 3 weeks because I'm in super rare, so it is quite a difficult job. Like, maybe the solution, something along the lines of like an underdog type tournament. So, like, if you're going to promote all the top cards, the highest ranking cards, you just have like a kind of separate competition where you just say, just everybody who's under 45 average or something, like, you know, just kind of separate it out a wee bit and just say, well, okay, we'll have a competition where you can play against yourself, because the whole point of divisions is that you're supposed to be playing at your own level. But I don't think it's worked very well from that point of view, because people are still aiming to get really, 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 really high scores in Division 3 or Division 2. And it's not helping the cards that are 40 average, 50 average, that type of thing. So I'm sure we'll get there, because we all forget that this is a big transition, and there's been huge amounts of feedback, mainly from me. But there is, and obviously the game just now will look maybe slightly different again in August again. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I do back them. I think they've got everything on point for the last while. So I think, aye, they're compounding the wins. They're building momentum.
yeah,
I think they'll do well with it. But like you say, it's delicate. It is quite it's an easy one to slip up with.
and the marketing's been much better as well. I mean, it's like Harry Redknapp, like everybody loved that, right? So like that's a huge plus point, I think, because we're talking about mainstream here. We're talking about not being a sort of niche crypto game and all that sort of stuff. We're talking about how do we get like people just sitting in the pub at the weekend saying, right, I'm spending 30 quid on my Sorare team, like that type of stuff. So to do that, you've got to do something different. But I think the game's in a better place now to promote that. Rivals, great. People really like Rivals, introducer wise and things, you know, obviously different communities. So it's quite interesting. So.
Yeah, I think it has matured. You know, going back just a couple of years ago, I can remember being in the Discord, which I rarely go in now, but it seems every day in the general Discord, there's always something. Go on Twitter, obviously during the international breaks, you used to always be something. But I feel like the product itself has matured now a lot. And you check Twitter nowadays, it's full of joy, it's full of, well, Essence at the moment, people winning cards, brilliant cards from Essence, but it seems like a lot happier place, which is brilliant. So it's come a long way, and I think it's matured more than anything, to be honest.
In a time where like it doesn't naturally, like off seasons is normally danger time.
Yeah.
Oh, here he is.
Essence. Not enough essence.
Well, you've got 6.
I can feel a complaint coming on here.
See, I'm sitting on 45 at the moment in rare. I'm debating just to
get it done, Jack. Just screen record, like screen share now. Get it done. Come on. Is it all Euro or is it copper as well?
It is all Euro, yeah.
Ooh, mate, I'm telling you.
But how good they've been, mate. I'd be saving.
Mate,
I'd be saving.
You'd be saving.
Aye, but how good they've been, mate. Imagine getting higher. Like, aye.
Yeah, but you won't get there in time is the issue. Maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the next one? 100.
Yeah, next one's 100.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait until the semis, and hopefully I'm somewhere around there. If not, I'm just going.
You're waiting for a semi, yeah. That must have been some holiday you were on there.
It's a long time.
he's up front for Turkey now, and he's semi.
Fucking hell. Where were you on holiday? Shagaluf? Sorry, I've lowered the tone there. I do apologise to the live viewers. This is what happens on a Friday night when you're on a live stream, Quinny.
Supercharged goodness.
Supercharged. Nah, mate, honestly though, like the amount of crazy good cards I'm seeing is ridiculous. And I said to Quinny before, obviously you're not going to see the average ones, are we? Like people aren't going to share their average, but like in the Discord I'm in, Jesus Christ, like it's actually ridiculous. From like the 20 essence and the 40, I've not seen somebody actually get a tier 4 or a tier 5, if that makes sense. Like it's always 3, 2, 1. I've seen stars like Diogo Costa came out earlier for mental. Yeah, Alex said it there. Alex knows. They made mental, like stupidly good average as far as like the tiers go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get waiting.
Yeah, but that's Euros. But it's all the cream of the crop international standard players. So
Exactly.
because like even when I looked at the pool for the Copa America, I was thinking like that's actually like that's really good, you know. So that's what kind of prompted me to buy a limited team because I won some, which is a nice position Ben. But then when I looked at that, I thought, fuck, that's actually really good. So I'm actually going to spend some money in limited because sometimes I think with limited, right, I'm spending 100 quid, I'm just pissing money in the wind or whatever. But like when you see that you're able to win the best players for those competitions, like it is actually pretty good. So I think Sorare have done a good job there because the prize pools are obviously focused on all the guys who are playing in the same competition. I don't know if we've always had that in the past, so it's more all-starry and things. But see now, you see that actually you're going to be able to win guys who are at the Euros, even the guys who are tier 4 is like maybe a Sabitzer who's going to play in the next round or whatever, and there'll be some demand for. So that kind of I think is the blueprint in terms of winning people who are really useful. But yeah, I mean, I think if I had some essence just now, which I don't, I would be having a bit of a gamble at it because if you're not going to hit the higher levels for the end of Euros, then you want to have a chance at those better pools, and the pools look absolutely amazing. But fair play, I mean, like we've all had times where we've had a bit of a whinge about, all right, that pool's not so good, and you know that super rare pool's not so good, and it's nice to see that actually people are getting rewarded and they're buzzing and they're coming into a new season, and it's maybe or maybe not deliberate, but good.
Tordor, a good question here. I'm not too sure there's an answer for, but he's saying if he just holds his Euro essence, will it still pay out? I would be worried that when the prize pool closes, it's not got anything to pull from that's as OP as what we're seeing today. It might just revert to like European club or something like that, you know, or All Star or something. Yeah. So I'd be nervous on that front if I was you, in terms of waiting for 3 months to clean it out. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey guys, we've been going for live for an hour and 20. Thanks to everyone that's been joining us on a Friday night. Thanks again to my co-pilot, Harry Trades, for coming in and joining me tonight. Harry, it was a pleasure, my man.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for calling upon my services. And
we had 2 party crashers tonight, of course, McBrideACE, who was only meant to be here for an hour, half an hour, and it's ended up here for pretty much the duration. McBride, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. Cheers again.
Yeah, I've got 300,000 Guinness per weekend available for the prize pools, so I'll wait to have another Guinness. But nice to catch up, guys. Cheers. Good night.
Thanks a lot, mate. And Jackp crashing the party later on, making his debut on the channel as well, mate. It was great having you on. Thanks for joining us, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure. Thanks for the invite. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it's been a great one. And thanks to everyone that's joined us in the live chat. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, guys. I see we've got a good amount there for how many have joined us live. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck with the deadline tomorrow. Do not forget about it. We won't be live for that. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
England.
And again, everyone's channels are linked in the description below. Have a good one, guys.